Getting a 10K per month client is one thing. Keeping them happy and growing the relationship is a whole different animal. Here's how I do both. Hey guys, Michael here. If you don't know who I am, I've built a 7-figure passive income business in payment processing, starting from scratch and mastering what works along the way. With 15 years of experience, I'm here to help you create your own path to financial freedom, faster and smarter. The way I got this client is they came through our website, and just to give you a little bit very high level background on that, we spent a lot of resources early on, actually not even early on, more like middle of my journey in the payment processing space, to dump a lot of resources and money into the SEO world because everything was Googling this and Googling that. Unfortunately, the world isn't that way anymore. So I differentiated by two ways. They used to be the how economy, and a how economy is you Google things and it's like, how can I solve this problem? You try to be the expert matter here in terms of trying to solve the problem that you're having. That's how it was. And it was very popular. Not necessarily the best way to do it, but that's how it was. SEO stands for search engine optimization, just for the record. In today's world, it's about the who economy. And it's about who can help me solve this problem. Think about it. Everything you do, everything you buy, at the end of the day, if you really think about it, comes from an influence somewhere out there. Someone that said it, a friend that recommended it, or whatever it is. That was influenced by a who. And that's why you live in the who economy. That's how I received that client. But that client came in through our website. We got that person and then they came through. Just because we won them and got them through our website doesn't mean that they're going to be a customer of yours. So how did I build trust with that client? Whenever someone raises their hand and are interested in your services, we have a saying that time kills deals. And the longer you take reaching out to that person, you have a flood of others that already reached out to them. And they have had the chance to build a relationship and all of that stuff, because to them, first impression is your only impression at the end of the day. So when you are framing it, when you get something, you got to respond immediately, because time kills deals. And that's with everything. In that journey, when we got this client, he sells auto parts online. It's an e-commerce business. And my teaching to all my sales reps that I had, it was a sales rep that was handling this deal. It was to provide them that information in my experience and what I've done in my life in terms of in the payment processing or any business is the same thing. As soon as we got that deal, we got that lead, we immediately had that person contact them within minutes. So here's this person online, boom, sending an email, a request. Hey, I'm interested in your services, raising their hand. And now we're contacting them. At this point, my sales rep had contacted them immediately, spoke with them, understood their business, and trying to understand what they're looking for and asking them about and getting their pain points. There's an email that goes out after the call, and that email is pretty much saying, hey, I'm your dedicated rep. I'm going to be part of your whole experience here at, we used to be called BankCard back then. We changed our name to now Zenti, as you guys know. But after we discuss it with them, now we've talked to them, we've listened to them, we've asked them some questions while we're talking to them. And then we kind of craft that little email. And pretty much that email says, hey, I'm your dedicated rep and a specialist throughout your whole experience with us. And here are the additional information that I need. That's kind of how the relationship starts and how important and vital it is to be able to start lifting that barrier and the trust barrier immediately so they can trust you and believe in you. Because mind you, you're not the only person they completed the form on their website. Again, this is the how era. So the how era, they'll fill out your website, they'll fill out 10 others because they're desperate, they need a solution. You're not the only person that's going to be contacting them because it's Google. They're doing the research and they're choosing who they go to go with. So when we got that merchant, the challenges that we faced, that merchant came with a lot of issues, a host of problems. And our idea, as I said before, listening to their pain points, we have a solution first approach. So solution first and pricing. I mean, yes, you can discuss it. but it's not our approach. We approach it with a solution drive, because that way, if I can provide them with the solution they need and they can see that, and I can position it in a way where like, oh, wow, I need this to grow my business. And that can translate into maybe faster and more convenient checkouts and so on and so forth. And in their eyes, that's going to translate into a more stream. So this merchant came to us again because Zenti specializes in high-risk merchants. That's one of our specialties. And they came with high chargeback ratios, and they're in the verge of being shut down by, at that point, they were with Chase Payment Tech, which is a processor and a bank. Obviously, you guys all know who Chase is. Again, our goal was to listen to them and find a solution that will work for them. That way, we're hitting their pain points and we're giving them a pill to heal their pain, which moves me into the next segment. Once we got that merchant, obviously we got them approved. We were able to work with processors that were able to house that person. We went back and forth. We got statements and so on and so forth. Now, obviously, it takes two to tango. If the merchant isn't responsive or get us the things that we need, it's going to be very difficult to get that merchant to the finish line. But it's on you as well. So the follow-up game needs to be there. Eventually we got them approved, which was a great outcome. The merchant is happy. We're happy. We just got a very big account. And this goes for any type of account. It doesn't have to be a big account. It could be an account that you're making $500 a month, $300 a month. The concept is the same because you're learning every single time. And mind you, this merchant, we got them, I believe, back in 2021. So January, it's been what? 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 4 years. So they've been with us for 4 years, this merchant. And we've been making $10,000 a month out of them almost every single year. So you do the math. I don't have time for it. So it's very lucrative. But again, I wasn't chasing the money aspect. My goal was to be able to find them a solution, and then they're going to be able to like, okay, great, I'm going to go with this person. Anyways, so how did we keep this person? How did we get them to stay with my company to process payments for 4 years? How did they stay with us for 4 years? It's really not a secret sauce. You have to check in with them. We have a thing that we do, and that is like a 1 month check-in, 3 months check-in, and then so on and so forth. And it just repeats. And it's a very good way to do things because here's the thing. If you don't check on them and only wait for them to contact you when there's a problem, you don't want that because it makes you look like the bad guy. And almost like, God forbid, you're in a hospital setting or you're visiting a friend or a relative. Again, God forbid that happens. You know those alarms that go off when there's an issue, high blood pressure or something is wrong. Nurses come, they rush in, doctors, all of that stuff. But the reality is that is not the only time the nurse checks in on you. They check in on you constantly. They come in, they check your blood pressure, they just check in on you. How are you feeling? How are you doing? They come in with that sanitizer and then, how are you? How do you feel? They're checking in with you. And that means a lot. That means I'm checking on you regardless what's wrong with you. If you're dying or living, I'm still going to make that check-in process. And the same thing goes in sales, in life, in relationships, in anything. If you don't check in on them, here's what I worry about. If I'm not checking in with somebody and let them know, hey, I am here for you, they signed up with you. They came on board with you for that reason to begin with. Because if I'm preaching to you that you're selling them on relationships and you go silent, well, the only thing that's going to happen is they're going to start probably feel resentful against you. You're digging yourself a bigger hole because even though you're thinking you're avoiding and it's better, kind of like when people say ignorance is bliss, that's not the case here. You don't want to ignore that because that problem becomes so much bigger and you're leaving that merchant wide open and available for other salespeople that will build the relationship, do all of that stuff, and give them things that you're not able to provide them. So you're going to lose that merchant, and you don't want that. You have to check in. Just think about it like this. Do it out of careness. It's not about doing it and looking at it as a chore. It's doing it because you care. Don't expect anything in return. If you're doing things to do them, to give, don't expect anything. Because here's the thing. If you're doing something and you're expecting, just for an example, let's say you are trying to close a deal and your expectations are closing a deal, closing this business. Let's just close a badass deal. Well, If you don't close it, you're going to be disappointed in yourself. But if you don't set that expectation and your expectation is just, hey, let me build a relationship with this person and just see where it goes, that will have your mindset completely shifted and you're focusing now on building the relationship instead of, oh, I'm out there to close. Because if you're just thinking out there to close, your patience will run out, your patience will not be there, and you're just going to be like, why did I not close this person? Well, you didn't build a relationship. The barrier wasn't lifted. They didn't feel comfortable with you. And those are vital things to be able to get and be around. I'll always tell you this, build the relationship. And that is where it's going to happen. So the more you do it out of care, instead of doing it because I have to do it and it's part of something, you're going to fail at it because your heart is not in the right place. So imagine this. Imagine someone is either being kind to you or whatever the case might be. But all of a sudden, you're feeling that they're just doing it because they're expecting something. You're not going to like that. You're not going to be like, oh my gosh, this person is awesome. You probably never want to speak to them again because you feel like you got backstabbed, right? They're only doing it for that reason. And here you are, you're leading them on thinking you're doing it for one reason and then boom, because that's how we're going to feel. That barrier is going to be opposite. You're going to put multiple barriers of trust because you feel like that person was out to get you and fool you or whatever the case might be. You want to genuinely talk to them, asking them questions, working with them. Going back to the first step where when we talk to them, we were asking questions. We were talking less. We're listening to them. And that's how you build relationships. Relationships are built over time. They're not immediate. So if you think you can build your relationships immediately, put yourself in those people's shoes. Imagine you met a stranger and they're going out, they're like, hey, can I ask you for this? Or can I get this from you? They just want to take from you. You're like, I'm sorry. What? You haven't given me shit. Why am I giving you? If you're expecting something in return, especially in relationship building and sales, they will smell it and they will run away. As far as the emails that can go out and check-ins, you can automate these things like HubSpot. You can send a personalized video using maybe something like Video Ask. There are many ways, especially in today's world, where you can actually utilize those platforms to be more authentic, be more you, and not suffer on the quality of it and the outreach. Obviously, there's nothing better than just picking up the phone and calling them because they want to hear your voice. It was you. Or leaving them a live voice notes. Hey, I'm just checking in on you. I have this cousin. He unfortunately got diagnosed with cancer. So far, so good. But I've made it a thing, not because of anything. I'm not expecting anything in return. The guy loves me and I love him. Every 2 weeks, I've made it a thing where I just reach out to him because I truly care what he's going through, how he's doing. Because the reality is, if I was in his position, I would hope somebody did that to me. It's nice. It puts a smile on someone's face. And this goes to show that it's not just doing it because I'm expecting. What could this person possibly do for me? He's in a very vulnerable stage in his life. I'm probably the last person he's thinking about. I'm not asking anything from him. I'm giving him my support. I'm giving him my prayers. And that to me is where it hits home. So this lesson from getting this merchant taught me a lot because every merchant that we close teaches me a lot. Just like life experiences. When you ride a bike, you fall, you learn. It's the same thing with helping clients. You're understanding them, you're understanding their pain points. So the next person in line that comes in and they have a similar problem, every merchant is different, every business is different, but I'm going to learn as I go. I'm building the plane as I'm flying it and learning from those experiences. I don't know everything. When this person came in with us, yes, I knew about chargebacks, I knew about all of that stuff, but I didn't know to find him the perfect solution. No, I didn't. I mean, I knew the resources to use, where to go, who to talk to, but did I know exactly how to solve it 100% of the first call that I was on with him? No, I didn't. And that's fine. That is fine. Those are the best experiences. And I'm not afraid when I talk to a merchant or a business and they ask me a question, I'll tell them I'll get back to you. I'm not going to be the know-it-all. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, this is how you do it. Because if I do, maybe you're giving him the wrong information. And let's say I did give him that and then I come back and I give him a different answer. It's going to make you look like a liar or you don't know your Let's be honest. It's better to table it and be like, you know what? That's a great question. What an amazing question. Thank you so much for asking it. Now you're making him feel like, wow, I just gave him a really good question. But it's the approach. So you tell them, you're asking some really good questions. I wrote them all down. I'm going to get back to you. So I know I want to give you the right answer. I have some ideas, but I don't want to give them to you. I want to deliver you with facts, not just thoughts or what I think will work. That's a really, really big deal when it comes to that. Going back to this merchant and how much I learned from them is also at one point in time when we onboarded them, they were doing $1 million per month with us. And at one point in time, they went down to like 400, 500,000, almost like 50 to 60% down. And I was shocked. I was like, what happened here? And I was asking the sales rep and she didn't know. She reached out to him. I ended up calling him. And because we've already lifted that trust barrier, I got it out of him. And he said, it's because your pricing is a little bit higher than where I would like it to be. And I said, no problem. Who you're processing with right now? And he said, Stripe. So Stripe had gotten him approved as well beside us. And I said, okay, how can I win more business? He said, if you can match or come close to Stripe, I love your solution way more. I have no problem there. So we were able to come close. I don't remember exactly. We were making more money than $10,000 a month from him. But after we changed it, we now make $10,000 a month. But if we didn't have a gauge on that business, we wouldn't know that he's having that of a pain point. The pain points don't come just from the beginning of your conversation. They continuously come. They're ongoing, which is why it's important for you to check in because that's the reality. Spoke with him and the following month after we changed his pricing, he's now doing $1 million a month. If you were not paying attention to that, you'd be like, I don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So if you're not on top of and checking in, you're going to lose out on potential revenue. You're going to lose out on this customer leaving. If you make a customer mad or not happy, that's going to not just affect that customer. It's going to affect a lot of other future customers because that person might give you a bad review or not refer you other business. So that is the reality. But I would never want you to sell by price because if you sell by price, you will die by price. And going back to earlier, what I had said, if you find the solution for this client, they will pay for the problem. And that's just the reality of it. Because if I have a problem I want someone to solve and they come to me and they solved my problem, regardless what it is, I'm not going to think about price. I'm not saying that you're going to come and charge me, take advantage of me. That's a completely different conversation because that's very wrong morally because you don't just take advantage of people that are wounded. But if somebody gave me the solution to my problem, I'm not going to think of price that much. I'm not. So if you sell by price, you will die by price because the next person in line that's going to come and talk to that merchant and tell them, hey, I'll save you this much, they're going to leave you. And they are leaving you because you sold them by price, not sold them by relationship or solution. And that's happened many times to me where people are like, they call me and they say, I've said it before, hey, a lot of these sales reps come to me and they want me to switch. They're saving me a couple of $100s a month. And we're not leaving because of this, this, and this. So that's a big deal. That's where I know I've done my job. I've done my job, and my job is to be able to be there and available for my clients. So if you want to start doing this, well, I just gave you a story of my life as far as my experience with this particular client, which didn't come later on in life. You have to build a foundation first. And think of it as a house. You have to have the foundation of a house before you build your living room, your rooms, your porch, and all of that stuff. Because if you build them and you don't have a foundation of some sort, it doesn't have to be the strongest in the world because you'll learn and you'll continuously improve that foundation, but your house will fall. And there's nothing wrong with a house falling. You can rebuild again. But a lot of people get turned off once that house falls. A lot of people get like, I try to build this business. It fell. I'm over it. Let me go back to my 9 to 5. That's the reality. That's why a lot of people fall. But the reality also is that the most successful people have fallen and failed multiple times, not just once, twice, multiple times. And that is the trait of a successful entrepreneur, is someone that can just get up, dust everything off, and just continue. But that's not what this is about. Build a foundation. And once you build that foundation, then you can go out there and do other things and experience. And that's what I did. I built the foundation, didn't know know anything. I honestly didn't know what the hell I was doing, to be very honest with you. I didn't know anything. Nobody taught me anything. Nobody showed me do this and this and you'll potentially make money. No, I try to learn and be as resourceful as I could. I try to be problem solving, and I knew right away what I was able to provide that bigger companies and others won't. Until this day, people don't. I was able to provide myself. And me competing with giants, oh my gosh, it's an understatement to call it a competition, because I will be providing a way better experience for my clients than a big player would. So I took that and I saw a pain point in that world and I hit it really, really hard and was able to do well. But again, build that foundation. And where do you build that foundation is use your network. I keep saying this over and over because it's so important. If you use your network, you're gonna get way more out of it. And plus, it doesn't turn you off. Don't get me wrong, your network, maybe majority of them will tell you no, go fly a kite, but it's not gonna be the same if you go to a stranger. This is at least someone in your network. And if you don't have a network, that's, I guess, perfectly fine, but you need a foundation. And if you don't have a network, then go out there, build relationships, start building that network. Don't go for the sale. Go and build your network. Label yourself as the payment processing expert. Once you build that network and build those relationships, people will know what you do. If they need your services, they're going to come and ask for them. So that's the reality of it. You have to have a lot of patience too, obviously. You have to have a plenty patience. I just learned something new that's actually incredible. It gave me goosebumps, but the CIA teaches their agents, let's say a person of interest or person and just in general has the information they need. They have to build a relationship with them so they can get that information out of them. And if they just go and tackle that person and be able hey, give me this information, you're not going to get it. I'm sure you've seen movies with torture and all of that. They'll get people to probably say things as well, but you're not going to go out there and torture merchants because that's not what we do, right? But you build those relationships. So the CIA teaches their agents build the relationship with that person of interest. And to do that, you need to be very patient. And they teach the way of doing it when you're talking to these people is there's two things they say. WAIT, W-A-I-T, stands for why am I talking? Remember, the more you talk, the less in control you are. You want to be asking questions, listening. You want to be a listener. You want to do really well. Be the best listener on planet Earth, because people love talking about themselves especially. So if you're asking the right questions and maneuvering, and you're just going to get better as you go, do it out of interest. Don't expect anything in return. But one of them, WAIT, W-A-I-T, is why am I talking? And then number two is WASTE, W-A-I-S-T, why am I still talking? Let that kind of sink in for a moment because it's amazing. The whole point of the training that they do, if you're catching yourself, like, why am I talking? And why am I still talking? So that will consistently be a reminder that you need to shut the F up, like for real. I'll just listen. That's the end of the video. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. If you have questions or thoughts, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're interested in building real passive income through payment processing, check out the free community I've created. The link is in the description, and it's full of resources and tools to get you started today. Hope to see you on the inside.